Hello, this is Seewing Yee from the Real Estate Network. Welcome to this presentation on Booming Boise, Idaho, that is, investment opportunities. Again, thank you for uh, spending your time on this webinar with my friend and partner. His name is Mike Han, but before I will uh, refer him to do the presentation, Mike Han and our network have worked together in the past. As a matter of fact, way more than 10 years ago, in the early 2000s, Mike Han, came to our network in Fremont several times back in the early 2000s, those good old days. And we done some business together. And even at that time, Boise, Idaho was one of our target market. But over the years, we kind of lost touch for whatever reasons. You know how it is, but we always been in contact. So the reason why I'm inviting him back, Mike Han, is to because Boise, Idaho, continue to be one of good growing investment market for out of state investors. Well, mainly because most of our investors members are here in San Jose, Silicon Valley, and Boise, Idaho is only like an hour and a half flight time, if I'm not mistaken. So it's quite close. But yep. So once again, so therefore, without further ado, I'm going to have Mike come on and speak right now. Mike Han, go ahead and take it away, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Seewing. I appreciate your us reconnecting and being able to present some information to your network of investors down there and in California. Yeah, you're right. We've been talking and engaged since about '05 and '06 when things were going through the roof, and then things went the other way, and now they're back, and we're still here.
Yep.
We're still here and we're still alive and we're still doing well. So thank you very much. So today I'm going to talk about really at a high level of the opportunities in Boise, Idaho, or as Seewing says, booming Boise, Idaho. And yeah, it is booming, and I'll get into some details on why that is and so on and so forth. So let's move forward on the slide. So our mission today, or actually our mission, actually let me back up even a little further than that, is I'm a licensed real estate broker in the state of Idaho, and have been licensed since about '05, and I've mainly been focusing on commercial and investment properties in our area. And our mission, our group is called Commercial and Investments, and we're licensed with Silver Creek Realty Group, which is the largest brokerage in the state of Idaho. We have over 1,400 agents. So our mission is to assist our clients in the successful sale and acquisition of commercial and investment properties in the state of Idaho, and also to provide in-depth local knowledge of the investment real estate market in the Southwest Idaho region. And unfortunately, I forgot to put a map of Idaho up, but we're Boise, Idaho, and the surrounding areas, which we call the Treasure Valley, and you'll hear me interchange both of those terminologies, is in the southwest part of the state. There's our area is basically the major population center, because Boise is the capital of Idaho. And then if you travel north, you get to the Panhandle and eventually Canada. If you travel east from here, about 5 or 6 hours, you get to the eastern part of the state, and then you'll roll into Utah. So that's kind of where we're located. A little bit about, again, myself, and I have a partner, Curtis Ellis, who is not on this call right now. But again, I'm an associate broker. My background is electrical engineering. I've got an MBA, and I've been licensed since '05. And like yourselves, I am also an investor, and watched the market go up, watched it go down, and now it's going back up again. And it's going back up for different reasons than it went up last time, but and I'll get into more of that. And I'm really focused on a lot of multifamily. I'm also do industrial properties. I do a little bit of development, and also some retail and some storage. But today I'm going to mainly talk to you folks about multifamily opportunities in our area, the Treasure Valley / Boise. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. So again, like I said, today's objective is to educate and update out-of-state investors on today's real estate market in the Treasure Valley / Boise area. Okay. There was a recent article in Bloomberg Business Week, and I've got a link there at the bottom of my slide, and this was in the October 23rd issue of Bloomberg. Boise and Reno capitalize on the California real estate exodus. And what this article really talks about is, and I'll get into some more details, is really there's an influx of people from the state of California and other places, but a lot of them are coming in from California because of high cost of living, high cost of real estate, and a variety of other political and social factors that I'm not going to get into. But I would say over the last few years, I've met a lot of people, and surprisingly enough, a lot of them are retiring law enforcement officers from the state of California who've decided to move up here, and for a variety of different reasons, which I'll list out later. But so the premise here is that we've got a significant influx of people into our area. And with an influx of people, they're buying homes, and some of them can't buy homes because they can't afford to, possibly, and or need to rent properties, rent homes, rent apartments. And with those number of people coming in, well, we need to create services for them. So that's creating jobs, and then companies are moving up here as well. So there's a lot of dynamics going on, and that which is making our area kind of a very popular growing area. So here are some of the growth drivers as far as in-migration for our area. These numbers are a little dated, but they're a pretty good indicator of what's still going on today. Is that and I'll talk about the Treasure Valley and Boise, and I'll also talk about the two counties that make up the bulk of our population. Is Ada County, which has Boise and a couple of other large cities in it, and Canyon County. And back in 2015, 88% of people were coming into our area from out of state. And as a matter of fact, in a recent survey from last year, where they asked people who live here whether they're from here originally, the statistic was 70% of the people who live in the Treasure Valley are not originally from Idaho or the Treasure Valley. They're from elsewhere. So that's kind of an indicative litmus test of where people are coming from. And of course, like I said, this information is a little dated, but it's pretty good representation of where people are coming in from today into our area. As you can see, a big piece of the pie, probably about a third, are from California, both Northern Cal and Southern Cal. And again, a lot of them are coming in for a variety of different reasons that I'll get into a little later on. But we also have a fair number of people coming in from Alaska. I guess it's a little warmer here than it is up there, and of course Utah and Oregon, and also Washington is a good feeder state too. And also people are coming into our area from other places in Idaho because there's now jobs. Our unemployment rate is probably, I think, lower than the national average. I can't remember the exact number, but you see jobs available signs, for hire signs, and all over the place, not just for service industry jobs, but also for more skilled blue collar and white collar type jobs. So that's one of the growth drivers, is people moving to the area. Okay, and our next slide shows that in 2017, in the Boise MSA, or the Metropolitan Statistic Area, which consists of Boise, Meridian, and a variety of other cities, our population just in this area, right, is a little over 700,000. Statewide, we're probably at about 1.7 million. Still small in comparison to, California and some other states, but the statistic is that approximately 37,000 people are moving here into our area per year, or one net person every 17 minutes. So what they're predicting is probably by about 2025 or maybe even 2030 that there's going to be in the Boise MSA probably over 1 million people. And once an area gets to about 1 million, which is critical mass, that basically raises a flag to a lot of industries and companies that don't pay any attention to any areas until they hit about 1 million. Then all of a sudden, you start getting an influx of businesses and services to service all these people. So, we're getting pretty close to critical mass here, and I think once we hit that, then things get pretty exciting. So we're still, hindsight is 2020. We all should have bought properties at the bottom, right, back in 2009, or even 2 or 3 years ago. But looking forward, I think we still have some exciting times to come for the Boise area. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So why are people moving to the Boise area? Well, for jobs. It's with companies moving here, there's now a demand, for jobs in our area, and with the lower cost of living, people can afford to, make a little less than what they would be paid in California, but still have a commensurate lifestyle. Also, people are retiring to the Boise area to get away from high cost areas like, Colorado and California, Washington, state, or Seattle and Portland. We're getting a lot of older retirees who are selling their homes in those areas and then buying something for half the price that's twice as large and still having, a nice cushion of cash to live off of. And those people obviously need, services. So that creates, jobs, which creates, people that are looking for, those service type individuals, or, who can't afford to necessarily buy a home, are looking for rentals. So cost of living is obviously lower than some of those high cost states that they're moving from. Okay. Right now, probably about, I would say, 10 years ago, our median home price was less than 200,000. Now it's about 300,000 for a medium home price, which is again also causing a demand for rentals because some people can't afford those types of prices. Also, quality of life is a big reason why people are moving here from the West Coast states. Less of a commute time, proximity to outdoor activities. Within half an hour you can be up in the mountains. Within within a couple of hours you can be up in McCall, which is a resort town with a big lake and beautiful scenery. Also people are coming here to escape from high crime areas. Safety is a concern. I've had a lot of people tell me, well, I'm moving here because I want my kids to grow up in a safe place. And the Boise area is, comparatively speaking to other areas, a very safe place. People still leave their front doors unlocked in some areas, but crime is pretty low here. And of course, it's friendliness. Everybody says hello when you go shopping, and how are you? And that's for people coming in from big cities, that's sometimes pretty strange to them, but that's just the way of life, and here in our area. So really, there's some very good reasons for people who are moving here. So why invest in Boise, right? I mean, and that's a big jump, but so we know that people are moving here, quality of life. With every one person that moves here, we have to have 2 people to service them in one way, shape, or form. So so this is all creating a big critical mass. So with investing in Boise, you got to have a long-term growth and outlook. this is not a buy it and flip it in a year type of a situation. I think we have a good 10 to 15 to 20 years of growth, in our area. I think we'll continue. I mean, obviously, with everything else and the rest of the country, we'll see, economic cycles go up and go down. That's just the way things are. Hopefully we'll never see what happened back in 2009 again. But so I think we're poised for a long-term steady growth because it's a safe area. People, even though we're quote unquote on the map, I think we'll still continue to attract the type of people that are looking for quality of life, a safe place to live, and cost of living. So and then, like I said earlier, there is going to be always this this group of people who cannot necessarily afford to buy a home and have to live somewhere, so they have to rent. So in the last, I would say, several years, 2-3 years, our rental market has been very robust. Even though they're building a lot of apartments here, I think they haven't built apartments for a long time, and then the recent boom in apartments in the last several years, really that capacity is just to meet the current need. I don't necessarily see them overbuilding. So rents are going up. Rentals are filling up quickly. We have a seasonal market. We have all 4 seasons here. So typically in the wintertime, things slow down a little bit, but I think rents still have room to move. And again, increase in mortgage rates. They're driving some buyers to rentals. Some people just outright cannot afford to buy a home. So they have to rent, they have to live somewhere. And that is beneficial for us investors who are buying residential rentals. So then boils down to, well, should you look at multifamily? Should you look at single family? And it really depends on what your overall strategy is. I frankly own both, and there's pros and cons to both multifamily and single family. I'm not going to get into specific details on those. And that could be a subsequent conversation that you could have with Seewing and myself. But I think that long term, Boise is a solid, is going to be a solid investment for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Okay. So what should your investment strategy be? Should you buy a single family home? Should you buy a multifamily, which is up to 4 units, duplex, triplex, or fourplex? In our market today, there's a lot more single family homes available than there are multifamily. The multifamily market is very, very tight, which is ultimately squeezing returns and cap rates. So you have to look at specific opportunities specifically on a one-to-one basis to see, well, it may not make a ton of sense today, but in 10 years, you'll call myself or Seewing and say, hey, that was a great investment, because now I'm, now my cap rate or my return is way up. So, that's what you have to look at in today's market. Inventory's tight, so you have to look a couple of years down the road as far as returns. And then also, I work with larger multifamily investment groups. So if there's several people, when we talk about large multifamily investment groups, we're looking at, $1 million to $2 million to $3 million, where we're going after properties that are, more than 4 units, probably upwards of 10 plus, 20 plus units. So if you have interest in that, again, give Seewing a call and we can put together an investment group to go after, larger properties. So, and sometimes in those larger properties, there is a better return because, we are targeting owners that have owned these properties for years and years and may not have been keeping these things up. And there might be opportunity to, squeeze extra return out of some of these properties. So, so for example, here's a fourplex that is currently on the market. It's on a street called Clinton Street, and these are all 2-bedroom, 1-bath units, and they each have a 1-car garage, which is a pretty big deal, in Boise, because it gets cold in the wintertime and nobody likes snow in their car. But to have a garage where they can either park a car or store something is a great attractor for renters. This property was built in 1994. It's close to a major regional hospital and the mall. The rents are low because maybe the owner has not been keeping his eye on his property manager, and the rents are currently about $800. $800. They really should be somewhere in the 925 to 950 range, and the asking price is 545, and the pro forma cap rate at that 950, it's probably about 5.3%. Nothing, I mean, obviously, the days of 6% and 7% cap rates are over in our market. There's not a lot of properties that have those type of cap rates, but this is, typical of what we're seeing today. So, and another example is this, single family home, simple 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a 2-car garage, built in 2004. This is in a city called Meridian, which is one of the fastest growing cities in the Treasure Valley, and was also named, I think, USA Today, I think it was 2016, said it was the best city to live in the United States. Family friendly, lots of services. It's growing. It's safe. This is a path of growth. This house probably a year ago was selling for maybe in the low 200s. Now it's at 249. You could rent this out pretty easily at $1,500 a month. I don't have the cap rate on this, but this is just a sample of something that is potentially available today. And I've helped actually people sell their multifamily properties and get out and get into single families. And typically with single families homes, the tenant is paying for all the utilities, you're paying for taxes and insurance, and they tend to stay in these homes, less turnover. So anyway, so that's that's just a couple of things, and like I said, here's my contact info, and you may want to, like I said, give Seewing a call first to chat with him and talk to him about your investment strategy, your interests in our area, and then we can have a discussion. So more than happy to help you out. And if you have any questions, again, give Seewing a call, or you can give me a call, and really that's it. And I hope that I can help you build your wealth and help you prosper in the long term. So thank you, Seewing.
Yeah, Mike, let's stay on for a couple of more minutes. Something
Okay.
we have a Mike and I had an offline conversation recently, prior to today, and he agreed that what's going on. The reason why I invited Mike and to reintroduce your market to our investors here in California. Most of my investors are located here in Silicon Valley. So what I've been seeing in the last few years, especially due to the amazing appreciation and equity growth of all the real estate properties here in the San Francisco Bay Area, many of our members, not only they have their owner occupied properties are increasing tremendous value, unprecedented in history, but their rental property that they own in the Bay Area also have increased significantly. However, the cash flow are very is pretty much negative cap rate here in California. But in a way, that's a good thing. So a lot of our investors, in fact, I've been consistently been working a lot with a number of my members that who are doing 1031 tax deferred exchange from their high equity, low cap rate rental properties here in California, and many of those members of ours, they are buying out of state properties with some tremendous amount of cash available to buy the replacement property on a 1031 exchange. So again, in Mike Han's market with the duplex and fourplex he just mentioned, or even higher than the price range as indicated on this PowerPoint presentation, many of our California investors have the ability on a 1031 to buy all cash in the out of state market, wherever, whether it's in Washington State or Boise or Texas or whatever. I mean, if you have the ability, if you're willing, because there's so much equity on a 1031, you can buy one of these fourplex and have a 50% down payment on 1031 or even all cash purchase, then who cares about the cap rate? I mean, you're getting a cash flow property anyway with potential for steady appreciation over the years. Again, so again, a number of my investors they like the markets close to California. I mean, although many of my investors still go to Florida and Texas and Buffalo, wherever to buy properties. But Boise is not too far away. Like I said, on a flight is only about an hour and a half. So yeah, I mean, many of my investors, using 30, 40, 50% down payment or cash purchase on 1031, and Boise is a very good market to target. So, Mike, have you seen similar trends in the past few years from California investors that want to do 1031 and you know triggering the replacement property to purchase in your area?
Oh, I would say that a huge percentage of what I'm seeing is actually 1031 money coming in from California and elsewhere, but mainly from California, and basically buying these properties all cash. There's a lot of that going on, and that I mean that kind of makes a lot of sense because why write a check to the government right after you sell your property? And yes, especially in the California market. Those owners have experienced tremendous appreciation just because of the demand, for their properties, and now they have all this cash, and yeah, I mean, a return of in the low sixes, somewhere between a 5 and a 6 is obviously a lot better alternative than necessarily writing a check to the government, right? So yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of that, and I've helped a lot of those individuals find properties. So if you do have a property that you're going to sell, that you've gotten incredible and appreciation on, yeah, do a 1031 and send it on up, and come on up, and we can hopefully find you something. It's a tight market. It's a tight market, but being that you are all cash gives you a much greater advantage over the financed buyer, who right now the rates are pushing above 5, so that squeezes them, and it affords you the opportunity to make even an over asking price offer to get the property. And yeah, what's better than having a property that cash flows like every month? Get a nice little check in the mail. I work with a couple of different property managers up here that can service you incredibly well, that manage my own properties, as they manage my own properties as well. So yeah, absolutely, 1031 exchanges are happening quite frequently these days. So
Perfect. Well, Mike, again, I think we're concluding this presentation, and I'm very happy to reintroduce you to our members in your market, and we will continue to do so for a number of years to come. With that in mind, you know the protocol, my members. The first step is to contact me, so I know who you are. I can go through your goals and objectives, your motivation, and your commitment to do transactions. And then once we once you guys are ready, I will send you over to Mike Hahn, and he will pick it up from at that point. So, Mike, thank you so much for your time. Great presentation. Looking forward to open up, back up your Boise market to my member investors, and we will work together to help our clients to achieve their financial goals and objectives. Thank you so much, everyone.
all right, sounds good.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Mike. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.